Lesson 5.6 is about conducting a significance test for a difference in medians. This is very similar to the process we used in lesson 5.5, but instead of using the means to measure the center, we will use the medians. So we're going to look at the data that we looked at earlier in the chapter with the number of points scored by the West Ottawa High School football team and Holland High's football team for the 2017 season. We have box plots drawn for each of the distributions shown below. And the reason that I am using medians in this case is because Holland High had a pretty strongly skewed distribution. And so we know that the outliers on the high end, which were the games where they scored like 52 and 58 points, will make their average number of points scored seem a lot greater than what is typical for them. So because we have distributions where at least one of them is skewed, it probably makes more sense to use the medians to measure the center than the means. And so we're going to do that in this example. So we have the data, the number of points that West Ottawa scored in each of their games and Holland High. And we can go ahead and put those values into list 1 and list 2 in our calculator. So we want to know if we just look at the medians from the box plot anyway, we can see that West Ottawa's median point scored is quite a bit higher than Holland's. And we can see this because remember in the box plot, the median is indicated by the center of the box. So the median for West Ottawa is way up there. Holland is way down here. So we're going to compare those and we want to know if that difference is significant or not. It seems like it probably is, but we're going to conduct the test to find out for sure. So we'll start by writing our hypotheses. Our null hypothesis is that West Ottawa's football team has the same ability to score points as Holland's football team. Our alternative is what we suspect might be true, which is that West Ottawa's football team has a greater ability to score points than Holland did in the 2017 season. And remember when you write your hypotheses that it has to be stated in terms of their ability to do something. In this case, it's their ability to score points. And we're specific about who and when we're referring to. So it's not West Ottawa and Holland for all time, but it's specific to the 2017 season. Now for our test statistic this time, we're going to use the difference in the median points scored for each team. So not the average or the mean, but the median. I know that the median for West Ottawa is 33.5, and I know the median for Holland High School is 19. And so we want the difference in the medians. And again, just because I don't like dealing with negative numbers, I'm going to do West Ottawa minus Holland, and that will be our test statistic. So 33.5 minus 19 gives us a difference of 14.5, which is more than 2 touchdowns. That's a pretty significant difference. Our next step is to use the simulation to calculate the p-value. Again, notice when we look at our dot plot of simulated differences in means, we had actually several that were right at 0, right? And 0 means that there is no difference between Holland and West Ottawa. A lot of these differences were positive, and because the order we were subtracting in is West Ottawa minus Holland High School, if we come up with a positive difference, that means that West Ottawa scored more points in those games, or more points on average, right? So those are all of those situations right there. On the other side of the dot plot are the simulations where we ended up with a negative difference in medians. And negative means that Holland High scored more on average. So we had quite a few situations where that occurred as well. Our test statistic, if you remember, is 14.5. And on the positive side, our scale goes only up to 12. 14 would be way over to the right of that. And then we would count the number of dots to the right of 14, which would again be 0. So our p-value is 0 out of 100. It is not likely to get a difference that great if the two teams had the same ability to score a touchdown or to score points. And so then our conclusion would be that we would want to reject our null hypothesis. We have good evidence that West Ottawa's football team in 2017, anyway, had greater ability to score points than Holland High did.